Hello, my name is Margaret Adele, and welcome to another indie book review. This is one that I was super excited to get to because it is a genre that is quickly becoming one of my favorites from an author that I have given 5 stars before. So today I am reviewing Richard Quickdraw McCallister, A Eulogy by Casey White. Now, admittedly, I love the cover. Not the biggest fan of that title. That title feels a little bit too long and not the best formatted. However, I can't really give the author that much crap for that because technically the title was picked by someone else. So when I originally got the review request for this, I did say yes originally. It was under a different name, the name T.A. Haywood, and I didn't find out until after, like I think a month after at least, that it was part of a competition from, I think, Reddit, wherein a group of people had to pick from pre-made covers and titles and then write the story for it, which honestly, that sounds like a lot of fun. But again, I wouldn't mind seeing that title change, just a little bit clunky. Regardless, I have read and reviewed Casey White's book before. I loved her space opera, gave it 5 stars, so I was super excited for this one as well. And I wanted to see if she could continue what there was in the last book, all of the big dramatic explosions and real feel of stakes, and yay, there is, all up in this. So, to review, this is a sci-fi western all about a cowboy-esque type character named Rick, who is going to this dusty planet that is, yes, basically a facsimile of the Wild West, to save the widow and children of his old work partner, Clay. Clay and him work together on this ship that was run by this basically evil tech corporation. I think it's honestly called Technocorp, which, is the most insert evil sci-fi corporation name here. But, it is nonlinear storytelling in which you both see Rick in his efforts in the, I guess you could say, modern day storyline, trying to save Kara and her kids to honor Clay's legacy, but you also see him and Clay in flashbacks. And it's really easy to differentiate between the two. You're never confused, mostly because not only are the flashbacks told in italics, but there's also a change in tense. The flashbacks are in first person, the modern day is in third. So pretty much right away, you know, okay, we're in the past here. And I really like that. I like the use of italics to differentiate between modern day reality and any other kind of dream sequence or hallucination or flashback or that kind of thing. Apparently there's some argument about that, but I don't care. Anyway, it's really bittersweet because you know right away that Clay dies. The whole point of it is a eulogy. He dies in one of the first flashbacks, but you can feel the connection between the two characters through the flashbacks and through the way Rick interacts with Kara. And he originally comes to this dust planet basically just to save them. There is this alien force that's coming to the planet, and while they don't tend to bug anyone unless there's something they want, the Tamani, when they decide you have something they want, will just destroy you. And so it is pretty much certain death unless he can get them off the planet. But through plot, he is not only there to help just them, but the entire colony. So he is basically racing to evacuate a gigantic group of people before evil aliens can come in and destroy everything. So the tension is great. The stakes are really big. And there's a lot of character development to be had in Rick. At the beginning of the story, he is basically your Lone Ranger type. He is very disillusioned. He has come out the other side of a horrible tragedy and is very cynical and is very prepared to literally only care about Kara and her kids for his old partner's sake. And when he is forced to help others, he begins to grow as a person, and I loved that character development. He was not necessarily likable in the beginning, but as usual for me, a character being likable is not a requirement. They need to be interesting, and he was, because even during his less likable moments, you could see why he was that way, why he kept people closed off, why he was so paranoid, and why he just did not have time for anyone's nonsense. Why are we running around here second guessing me? Like, it was great. I could feel his irritation, and like, I was irritated too, like, oh my gosh, why aren't these colonists just getting on board here? Evil aliens are coming! So really well done in that aspect. I could really empathize with him, even when, you know, he was being kind of a jerk at times, which I don't know, may say something about me, but let's move on. The plot is properly big. I tend to get a little bit annoyed with a lot of authors who will want to put in life or death stakes, but it is so painfully obvious that death really isn't gonna happen. Like, have you ever read a synopsis of a thriller where it's like, will the protagonist be the serial killer's next victim? And ever actually honestly thought that, oh crap, the protagonist might become the serial killer's next victim? Like, no, you don't usually. If you read enough books in any given genre, you notice the tropes, and in a lot of cases, you're like, yeah, you can tell me there's a threat of death, but we both know this isn't happening. But Casey White's writing is such that I'm like, oh crap. Oh crap. Is this character gonna die? Crap. And then like they'll get out of a life-threatening situation and then literal like 3 pages later be in a different life-threatening situation. So I was like, oh, double crap. They're definitely not getting out of this one. Like, it's great. I love it. I love the way that I honestly wonder in this book, or in Casey White's writing in general, because in this space opera, there was genuinely a moment where like, oh, I can't believe that character died. It's great. I love it. I love big stakes. I love the action scenes, and in general, it was just a very like high-paced book that definitely felt sci-fi and Western. It had tropes of both. There was a very, very heavy focus on repairing this giant ship to get all the colonists off, but it was like a dusty planet, and this small town of colonists were not very welcoming of outsiders, and there was the evil corporation, and it felt like a Western that had some heavy sci-fi elements, and you could not have taken either side out of the equation and had the same story, which is when you know that it's real blending of genre. Like, nothing was just flavor. Everything was deeply interwoven in the themes and the plots and the conflicts that you could not have untangled them and had the same book at the other side. And I love that. Now, as usual, when I review sci-fi, I always like to kind of grade it for accessibility. If you are brand new to the genre, will this book be an easy in for you? And this one, I'm not sure. I would not say that it is 100% 101 sci-fi. You can totally read this if you've never like read any other sci-fi. However, a lot of the tropes in this book, in the actual plot of it, are very recognizable as being Western. The Lone Ranger type character that is trying to honor a dead friend, and the scrappy widow that's made her way in this dusty world against, you know, a very harsh backdrop. Like, those are very recognizable Western tropes, so that if you know them or like them, I would hope, you will get along with the main crux of the story just fine. The one place that it might lose you, and the reason that it's not 100% total beginner friendly, is the fact that there is so much emphasis on repairing the ship and a lot of semi-technological terms. Now, thankfully, you don't actually have to know a lot of the sci-fi mechanics. There are some mechanics of things, especially like the aether, which is essentially their fuel source in the world. You need to know the mechanics of that to understand a lot of the stakes and understand a lot of the plot things that happen. But like, if your eyes kind of glaze over when they're talking about how to fix a ship, that's fine. You just need to know that, like, okay, this ship is really old and it's going to be really hard to fix and we're on a time crunch. Like, that's it. As long as you know that, the sci-fi parts of fixing the ship should be fine. However, again, this might not be a total beginner sci-fi, but you don't have to be that much into the genre as a whole to get into this one. Overall, I loved it very much. Casey White continues to be a 5-star author for me. The sad thing is now it's not that I have 2 big sci-fi series from them that I want to read. And it's been so long since we've had an installment in Unknown Horizons, or rather halfway to home. And I want another one because apparently all the indie authors that write sci-fi that I love just take their sweet time getting to the next one. And yes, this is a rant about Shamie Stovall. Where is Starmark Vendetta? I'm off topic. Regardless, with nothing else to say, I am still closed to review requests for anyone except authors that I have already reviewed. If you have already reviewed, and even if I've given your book a low rating before, you can still send a review requests. I cannot guarantee the answer will be yes, because my life continues to be hectic. But without saying anything more, I hope you have a wonderful day and a marvelous tomorrow.